looking for something. A new way, a new understanding, a connection, some comfort. You've got questions, and Light on Living puts the spotlight on all the answers so you can shine. Lift and lighten the load of life's challenges and learn simple and easy ways to live a healthy, happy life. You'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you. You're invited to hear new, see different, and feel more as Lisa shines the light on living.
Hello everyone, welcome to Light on Living. I'm your host Lisa Berry, and we are beginning our final week, our final part of the series for Lead Amazing Woman Lead. And this is all about the essential powers of mastering your mission. That's a powerful statement in and of itself. And today we are speaking, the essential powers are going to be mastering your purpose and mastering your significance in life. And we want to let everybody know that we have one of the co-authors just could not quite make it, but we have the incredible, I want to say incredible as opposed to amazing, Marsh Engel here with us. And Marsh, before I bring you on, I would love to share what Vanessa has written as her statement for her part of her chapter, and we'll be talking about her, but Marsh has got some great stuff for us as well here. But Vanessa Adlawan says about mastering your purpose. She says, every person has their own innate capacity to become miracle-minded, giving them the abilities to regain their most vibrant health and well-being. And I really want to thank Vanessa for writing that and sharing that. It really holds a lot in there. And as we say hello to Marsh, I want to say hi first. Hi there, Marsh.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here with you, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for putting this in. You know, I wouldn't be able to do the series if it wasn't for all these incredible books that you do. And as I share that, allow me to share with everybody who you are and why I'm thanking you for this. So everybody, Marsh Engel. So since 2001, Marsh Engel's books, coaching programs, and live events have been recognized for their unparalleled capacity to move women to design influential brands, launch successful purpose-driven ventures, and lead inspired lives of impact. As the founder of the Amazing Women Nation, she is dedicated to elevating and celebrating every woman's purpose and creativity by curating a multimedia collection of educational programs, engaging events, published books, and social impact campaigns positioned to move millions. I have to stress that. There you go. Her pioneering work in the field of women's success leadership bridges both the internal and external aspects of creativity and contribution. As the creator of Amazing Woman Nation Legacy Press, I want to know about that. Marsh brings together a collective of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, mentors, and change makers in a series of published books, including the newest one, which we've been talking about, Lead, Amazing Woman Lead. Each book is designed to elevate the lives and the success of women. So, Marsh, you've certainly stepped into a role that, first I have to just ask you this, if we could start here. Did you decide this ahead of time? Did you even know what all this would look like 10, 15 years ago?
You know, Lisa, I would love to tell you that it was all mapped out for me and that I had this idea of where it would go and the next step and the next step and the next step. But for me, it was, I'll tell you the truth, the first vision that I had for Amazing Woman, for the programs that we do today, was an image that I could see of a room, a massive room. We could even say a stadium filled with amazing women who were celebrating and honoring their life visions. And I could remember the conversation I had with myself was, how would that ever happen? Like, I had no books out at the time. It was brand new for me. I was not a stage speaker. I did not do media. I was everything opposite of what essentially that I stepped into today. But I can tell you that I got the vision, and I've held that vision because it was a gift to me. It was given to me as a gift, I felt. And how would that be was not up to me as much as what would be moving me in the direction of even imagining or wanting, desiring to do something like that. So when I started it was really sincerely a deep desire to learn what it is that drives a woman to live her purpose. What is it that allows her to step outside of any of her fears, to step beyond any of the public opinion they have of her, to go into areas that she's never explored before, but her heart calls for her to go there. Essentially, everything that I was experiencing was I did not know what it was to write a book. I did not know what it was to speak on stage. I did not know what it was to host media or do an interview. And I had to stretch myself into the, deep levels of vulnerability in order to live the why that was driving me to ultimately see outpictured or created this beautiful collaborative movement of a community called Amazing Woman Nation. So it really was about, it's a great question you asked, because it really was about not strategizing and having a linear roadmap that took me step by step by step, but really tuning in and staying true to what was moving me at the deepest level to fulfill what I had been given as a vision, which was gathering a massive community of women who would be celebrating and living purpose.
It's almost unimaginable to think that I love what you said, I was everything opposite of what I stand in today. And because I look at you and I think beyond such a pro, like you have pro football players, like a pro leader, a pro women leader, I can't help but be impressed by you and your story and what this, and I love that you said it was what was making you move at the deepest level inside of you. And it was so compassionate. It wasn't about just you hitting the stardom. It was literally right from the beginning involving millions of women who you didn't even know.
How could we celebrate? And here's what, something you said just a moment ago is that, I stepped into something completely opposite. Well, when I committed to make that step, and what I was reminded of as you were speaking is that we're all equipped. We're equipped to live a higher vision. We're equipped to live a sacred purpose. We're equipped. Many times we don't know that we're equipped. Many times we dismiss or deny the ways that our gifts show, our desires. We deny our desires. We deny areas of our life that have given us great insight. We somehow diminish those and live from a place of the way we think we're supposed to be living, or somebody has told us that's the action we should be taking, or someone has said this is the only thing you can do. And believe me, I was told all of that. I grew up being told exactly what the people around me thought I should be doing or what I should be. And it took a lot of breaking through that. And still, if I'm absolutely honest with you, Lisa, to this day, when I take new actions, I have to break through my own boundaries. Constantly and consistently, I will reach that edge that I have to break through or jump off into the next level of my truest expression. So it really doesn't stop. It's just maybe we find a little more courage along the way.
Yes, and also too, because I think the courage will come a little bit more easily when we have all these people around us, surrounding us, supporting us. And leads me to a question as we talk about purpose. You said we all hear this, like your why. Can you just speak to the connection, like how our why, is it our purpose, or is it connected somehow? Does it take us to our purpose?
They're most definitely linked arms. I believe purpose is that sense of connectedness that gives us that sense of meaning to our life. It gives us that sense of a willingness to move forward. It gives us that sense of I have to do this no matter what others say about me. I have to do this. Even if I don't feel that I'm completely prepared, I must do this. I must move forward. And our why is something that most of the time gives us that great sense of, we could use the word fulfillment. We can use the word joy. I like connectedness. I love the idea of feeling I'm purpose-driven, that I'm spirit-driven, that I'm intuitive-driven. I love the idea of living that, and I love the idea of knowing that I'm living that. And to me, that's what purpose is. Now, why Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cough, nothing to be concerned about though. But I think our why is the reasons, the reasons that get us moving. It's like, why am I doing this? Remind me why. Now, why it's important to know our why. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. The reason
it's also
so
a little
important.
earlier for you.
Yeah, it is. You're my first conversation this morning. But the reason it's so vital to know our why is because when people push back on what we're doing, or people have a harsh opinion about what we're doing, or maybe there's a day we wake up and we have a little bit of our own self-doubt show up, or maybe there's something that happens in a different way than what we anticipated it would, and maybe for a moment or two or more we have some disappointment. When we know our why, Lisa, we can go back and immerse ourselves in this. This reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And when I'm attached to my why or understand my why in a deeper level, it becomes very sacred to me. Then my why becomes sacred. And that sacredness is that connectedness that I'm talking about. I feel spirit-driven. And then that gives me that I have to do this no matter what they say about me. I have to do this even if people – I can remember when I first started writing that, I had left my career as an entertainment marketer for television and film studios, and I had decided to write the Amazing Woman book series. I don't know if I've told you this or not, and if not, it's a great story. And if I have told you, it's still a great story because it's such a time when everyone around me, Lisa, I had this major company. I was walking away from it, and I was deciding to write books. I was deciding to interview women that I met. I wanted to know a deeper connection with them. I wanted to understand what moved them. I wanted to understand how they gained the trust to follow their heart and soul. I wanted to know that. My investigation went way deep into what, made a female firefighter in New York City want to be a firefighter for FDNY. I wanted to know that story. I wanted to know how, a woman that had been in a devastating fire and her face had really been, I think,
disfigured.
Yeah, disfigured is the perfect word. Disfigured. What gave her the power to turn that into a sense of meaning and to go out and begin to teach and coach and be a speaker on stage to motivate and inspire people. I wanted to understand what moved these people to do this. And so when I announced this to my immediate, my colleagues and the people around me, their response was laughter. Their response was, "Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Why would you change your career? Why would you do that?" And what my response was, Lisa, is that I might be crazy, or I might be onto the biggest breakthrough of my life. I might be onto something so amazing that I must do this. So I didn't diminish their opinion, let them have their opinion. But I understood there was a deeper why, a deeper purpose that was moving me forward. And certainly I am to this day, how many years ago was that? That was in 1999. I don't know what that is. That's over 20 years. But today, looking back, that was a decision that I'm so grateful that I made. And along the way, I'm grateful that I stayed true to the decisions that I had to make along the way. That one decision didn't get me there. It was a decision after decision after decision. And it was facing many, many rejections. It was facing many people's opinions that, really were pretty harsh. It was an inner healing that took place within me to gain that sense of inner leadership that I talked so often about, that will really move us to staying true and staying, honoring the path that we're shown.
I think, Marsh, that you literally, right now, single-handedly have given me a definition, understanding, or a need to know my why now more than ever. you just really inspired and led me. And actually, I thought, oh my gosh, because in times of even not just other people judging or laughing or doubting, but when myself, like you said, you might wake up one morning and have just a little quiver, a little bit of fear. And that's when the why comes in. Remind me why. So thank you, first of all, personally for that. And then for all the listeners on there. Now, I've loved that you've linked that to, okay, so I have a purpose, I have a vision, and then this is my purpose for doing this, and this is my why. What if somebody's listening right now and they're like, well, I want to know my purpose. How do I know my purpose? So many people question this. What is your, I know you maybe have some ways of somebody can explore learning and defining and figuring out what their purpose is.
Yeah, definitely an initial exploration we can do with a series of questions that I'm going to give us. But before I do that, I want to say that our own self-doubt, when you brought that up a moment ago, our own self-doubt is the biggest defeat that we have. That's the biggest obstacle that we have to overcome. And I can remember when my first book came out and a friend called me and said, oh my gosh, your book is out. Aren't you worried that people will judge you? Aren't you worried that, they're going to have an opinion about you? And I started laughing, and he said, why are you laughing? And I said, because I honestly, when you asked the question, what came to mind is I don't think anyone could be more judgmental of me than I've already been of myself. It's like, I've been my own worst enemy, my own worst judge, my own worst doubter. And by walking through that and getting to the other side of it, it's amped me up and prepared me for any kind of rejection that I might feel from the outside world. So I think the more we get real about our own self-doubt, that we know that it's going to be there, that it's going to show up, it's going to tap us on the shoulder and say, are you sure about this? Or don't you want to overthink it? Don't you want to reconsider? Don't you want to let that go and set it over on the side? We're going to have that kind of self-doubt no matter what. And being prepared and knowing that that's going to come up will allow us then to arm ourselves, to equip ourselves with not believing what it says. So I'm going to give us some questions here that help us tune in to what our individual purpose would be, or maybe dig deeper into what a why might be. So the first question that came to, I wrote these this morning as we were preparing for this interview, because I was going to jump on the call, and I thought I'm going to have some good content here for us. So here we go. Let's see how these questions do. What must you create regardless of the opinions of others? Think about that for a minute. Mm-hmm. Think about that. You could think about it from two different ways, right? You can think about how the idea comes to you and immediately is followed, but what will people think of me? Or we have this grand vision, and then we think of, well, how am I capable of that? How am I prepared for that? How would that be for me? Much like what I did when I was sitting on the beach and got the vision of a big stadium filled with women living their purpose. The first question that came to me is, well, how would that ever be, and why would I ever be the one equipped to create that? How would that ever be? So, but we've got to get into that. We've got to get on the other side of that kind of conversation with ourselves or with others, so we are anchored into our own self-trust of the vision that we're holding for our life, the purpose that we see for ourselves, the connectedness that we long and desire to have. So what is that one thing, that one idea that you must move forward on, that you must create regardless of the opinions of others?
Yes, I love that.
Can you think of that for yourself?
I can, and what the word jumped out for that was self-love is a word that goes around a lot, but I just thought of self-trust, and I love that. You have to have that trust. So there was something, I know right now in my brain, I'm like, I know there's something, and I know that I'll move forward, and I keep telling myself, I'm not ready yet. I'm not confident enough yet. So I'm loving this question to say, regardless of others' opinions, how could I move forward in that?
Yes, regardless. What is it that I wish to create? What is that thing that I wish to bring forward? What is that shift that I wish to see brought forth into the world? What is that contribution that I know I can make? What is that? And trusting, and having confidence. That's a great conversation. Matter of fact, I did a great interview that's broadcasting today just on breaking down all the different areas of confidence, what it takes to really find confidence. But at the end of the day, confidence is not going to be present until we move forward. And then as we move forward and we begin to reflect on the tiniest of successes, the tiniest of breakthroughs, the tiniest of willingness to move forward, the tiniest willing to pick up the phone and make that call, return that email, reach out to someone and ask a great question, or even more, ask what it is that we know that we could use some help with. Whatever that is, we start to anchor in deeper levels of confidence. Confidence doesn't come from the out picturing or the full expression of the vision that we have. That's not where confidence is. Confidence is the tiniest of moments. I bet, Lisa, if you and any of us sat down and we said, today I'm going to just make a journal. I'm going to write a list of all the things I did, or all the ways, the shifts that I made, or the forward movement that I created for myself in my life. I'm going to make a list of all of those things, and I'm going to see how I move through levels of trust, how I moved through levels of self-doubt maybe that were there, how I moved through levels of something brand new. So I really reached into my vulnerability and trusted myself, or I moved through my self-doubt and took the action no matter what. I think if we started to make a list, we'd see that we are actually creating deeper levels of confidence all day long. So many times I think we get confused and we think, oh, my confidence will happen when that big idea comes to be. But that's not confidence. Confidence is waking up in the morning and saying, when my feet hit the floor, I'm going for it. When when somebody cancels an interview, it's like, okay, let's think on our feet. Hold on, I'll fill into that interview. That's confidence. Confidence shows up in very subliminal ways. So I'd love to encourage all of us, including myself, to look at how am I doing things. And right now is a grand time because we're all isolated, or we're in, really a time of inward. Even though we're finding new ways to express ourselves outward through technology and communication, but all of that takes confidence to do. All of that to make shifts, to create changes, requires confidence. So anything we do that requires a shift or a change is a deepening of our own confidence.
I just think, absolutely, Marcia, what an incredible thing you do. I just learned something totally, I never thought about it, but you're right. I believe so many of us rely on our confidence. That confidence comes from external evidence, external thing. But I love that you gave that image. No, it's when your feet hit the ground running in the morning and it's already in you no matter what already. You bring that with you. You bring your confidence and that trust that you have within yourself to then fulfill your purpose, to lead that way. And oh my gosh, that was gorgeous. I love that you said that. That's a great question that you asked.
So, coming back to that question again so everyone can hear it, it's what must I create regardless of the opinions of others? And I could add, or regardless of the opinions I hold for myself. So the way I define myself, let me let it go and let me start to develop. I'm glad we started talking about confidence because I think we could develop a confidence mindset, and how that develops is by simply saying, every forward movement action I take, I know I'm developing confidence. Every forward movement action I take, every call that I make, every time I reach out and ask for support, every time I break through something I believe for just a split moment or maybe a long time that I couldn't do, I'm going to recognize and realize that I'm equipped and ready to do this.
And by the way, everybody just really highlight what Marcia just said there about every forward movement action, and that asking for support is a forward moving. So to ask for support is absolutely forward, and we are leading other women and people in the ways to say by asking for support, that's how we connect and get there together.
Yes, it's especially today, especially on whatever date we're on here in March, the 23rd of March 2020, we are absolutely at a time where asking for support and being willing to receive support. So there's two things there. One is asking for it, and the other is I'm open and willing to receive support. And both of those conversations, that's an interview in itself. That's an entire talk about what can we do to receive support. But something, for the moment, we could say, am I open and willing to receive? Am I open and willing to receive? Or allow me to see how I'm open and willing to receive. Or today I am open and willing to receive. And I think receptivity is so vitally important to living our purpose for a myriad of reasons. But if we can see the vision and we're not willing to let ourselves receive it and step into it, it will always be just simply a vision or a dream or an idea. And it will lead to a lot of things, but that we could talk it. That's a deep conversation that we could have one day. But if we don't say yes to ourselves, we're really denying our opportunity to have that higher connection that I often speak about, or be purpose-driven, or allow spirit to really infuse every aspect of our life.
Oh, I love that spirit. Which I could talk to you forever, but what I'm really hearing and feeling is that if there was one step that any woman or person could take to move forward, I actually hear it right now, is that we just need to say yes to ourselves. Would you agree?
That's beautifully spoken, Lisa. That's beautifully spoken. I think that if we said yes to ourselves more, even if we think we're saying yes to ourselves, I would almost imagine that there's areas that we're still denying the freedom to show up and be all that we've come here to be. Yes. The next question I was going to ask is a fun one, and it makes me think of that. It's like, what? Go ahead.
We have 30 seconds, though, and then, yes, if you can ask that in 30 seconds, it would be fantastic.
This is a fun, lighthearted question, okay? This is a fun, lighthearted one. What moves you so deeply that your 8-year-old self takes a stand and cheers for you? What would that be, that 8-year-old heart within you that has been longing to be expressed? What would it be to say yes to that would allow that 8-year-old to stand up and say, you go, girl, you go. Let's go for that. Yes, that's what I've been longing for all along. So it's a lighthearted question that we can ask ourselves, but I think we need some lightheartedness right now in the world. And it doesn't always have to be difficult and challenging to step into a purpose-driven life. What it takes is, as we said, to say yes to ourselves and allow ourselves to find that inner leader and that inner confidence to go for it.
That is so, and you know what, Marsha? Yes, thumbs up. It is very lighthearted because it's pure, and I can hear the purity in that. So everybody, we are going to post these 2 questions that you can ask yourself. I'll put that on the Facebook comments there. But Marsha Engel, thank you so much for being here and showing us how to lead in a way that's from our heart.
Absolutely, Joy. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everybody. Come back after the commercial, guys, because we have yet again another phenomenal, amazing woman as we continue the series of Lead Amazing Woman Lead.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millisers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. I'm so fired up from the first half here, with having shared that with Marsh Engel and really talking about the superpower, of purpose, of life purpose. And we went into everything from confidence to visions. But now, I have to say to my next guest who I'm just about to bring on here, she's got me really on this word today. This was a huge word. We are going to be diving into the essential power to master your significance. And Heather Salmon is my lovely guest, my amazing woman, my co-author here. Heather, I'm going to read your quote first and a little bit about you, and then we are going to dive into this. And so... Sure. All right. So the essential power to master your significance. Mastering a life of significance is a dynamic process that requires us to develop personal powers that include skills, practices, and mindsets, which, when awakened and engaged, help us to grow and transform in truly inspired ways. And Heather, that just right there, I love reading that. And then about Heather Salmon is a renowned sound healer, mystic, cultural creative, and recording artist. She is the co-author of Rise, Amazing Woman Rise, and now, again, Lead, Amazing Woman Lead book series, and has produced over 25 popular sound healing journeys available on MP3. Heather has been an innovative pioneer in the field of ritual, sound healing, and sacred activism, transformation, and performing arts for over 20 years, and is a high priestess ordained in the Essence and Temple of Isis lineages. She shares the teachings of the sevenfold path of peace, as well as feminine wisdom and leadership. Hailing from Toronto, yay! Heather is of Jamaican and Celtic descent and resides on the island of Maui, Hawaii, at the Black Swan Temple and Eco Sanctuary. She co-founded this lovely Envision place with her husband, Donnie, and I'm going to try to say this name, Regalmuto. I don't know if that's right. They offer, now I killed that one, didn't I? They offer ongoing yoga and sound healing transformative retreats, which you guys have to check out on the Facebook Lives and such. Sacred pilgrimages to ancient Egypt. Like, this is so heart-blowing. Mystery school trainings and mystical alchemy sound healing ceremonies. Oh! And to learn more about Heather, we're going to share with you how to do that. But you can visit blackswantemple.org, or we'll put the phone number there as well at the end. But oh my gosh, Heather, it's so lovely to be speaking with you again.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for doing this. And what an exciting series. It's so great. I love your energy. So you're waking me up at 6:30 in the morning here, but I'm feeling it.
Thank you. I know, and I'm so happy that we got you onto this. And I have seen, I want to jump into your life first, because talk about living a life of significance. I'm so glad that you chose that, by the way, and I don't know if you chose it or it was your calling, or this is what's going on in your life right now, but I've been able to have a peek into your life when I see you you have an incredible, significant life. And I just love to start there. A life of significance. How I put the Facebook title as how do I measure that? But it's not something to be measured, but how do we know we're living a life of significance? What does that mean?
Well, I think when you're living a life of significance, you're truly feeling like you are aligned with your soul's purpose, with you're utilizing your gifts, your talents, your energy in an effective way, in a way that feels true and honorable to you, most importantly, and is of service and is helping, being helpful to the greater good.
Yes. Oh my gosh, aligning with your soul's purpose and using your gifts. Oh my God. Okay. When you say using your gifts, I have to go into this. Your gift is obviously like music. Did you always use music, or?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Long time to figure this out, Lisa.
Okay, well, that's a great place to start. So you didn't, and now you did. Can you take us on that journey?
Right. Oh, sure. Wow. What a journey, right? Okay, so my journey, I actually, grew up, when I was a kid, I was like, I took piano and I took ballet and all that. But I went to business school. I have a degree in commerce and economics from University of Toronto. And my first career I used to work in international sports. So I ended up being like a international events producer. So I worked for the IAAF, like the Olympic size events on their off years. Like every other year they had like big Olympic events for like the International Federation of basketball. And I ended up working as part of for the NBA, as part of the Toronto Raptors startup, and for international track and field, part of their, off year international event. And then one thing led to another. I got married my husband was, my first husband was in film and television. And I thought, but the NBA was like, you should be an on-air personality. And I'm like, no, I'm going to get married. I'm going to quit this, and I'm going to work in television, produce television. And my husband, followed that path with my husband. And I got married, and I started working. He was on a show on NBC called Homicide: Life on the Street, and I worked in the production office. And it was kind of boring to me because it wasn't nearly as dynamic as overworking as a 20-something-year-old for the NBA. So I made a documentary about childhood lead poisoning. We were living in Baltimore, where his show was being filmed, and I thought, well, maybe I want to be like a Diane Sawyer, like a broadcast journalist. So I made this documentary. I was like, yeah, this is going to be my calling card. I'm going to be like a Diane Sawyer, kind of like you, an investigative journalist. Right. And then I got this, got my documentary, and then I got an agent. I said, okay, I'm ready to be like a Diane Sawyer. And so she was like, well, let me send you out on some acting jobs, on some acting auditions. And I'm like, why does everyone want me to be on camera? Because when I was working on the show, all the directors would come through and they're like, we should put you on the show, not behind the scenes. So I got this agent, and my first year I booked 10 acting jobs in Toronto, where I'm originally from. And one thing led to another. My marriage kind of was not happening the way I was hoping it would be. It wasn't, I was like in this process, kind of a breakdown. So one thing led to another. I went to Los Angeles, where I was a must join for Screen Actors Guild. I got top agents. I immediately started working. But I still had this inquiry, like, I don't want to be an actress, really. Like, what am I here to do? So please, Spirit, tell me what to do. Like, show me the way. And, my parents, my mother is an activist herself. She's a human rights a human rights advocate, and she's also a local politician. My father was Canada's first Black surgeon, so I come from this very rich background of these leaders, of these people who with huge hearts, who really moved through the 50s. My dad was born in the 20s, but struggling with racism, civil rights, and women's rights and access, and just really being advocates for a better world for everybody. So this is part of the foundation of who I am. So I was like, how can I use what I'm doing? I didn't just want to be, how can I use what I didn't just want to be an actress. I felt I didn't have enough creative control into what I was doing. So when in my inquiry, I was like, one thing led to another, and I heard healing in the performing arts. It's a new genre, and this was back in around the year 2000. And so I was like, yeah, healing in the performing arts. That sounds good to me. So I started studying. I became a healer, and I became a priest, ordained priestess. I went through this whole seminary teachings and studies, and then I came to sound healing because I was working on empowering my voice and healing through frequency. And then I came into bringing this all together in these new moon ceremonies that I created with a girlfriend of mine out of the Women's Club of Hollywood in Los Angeles, and between the years about 2000, 2006. I left LA in 2006. And then I ended up, long story short, I ended up in Northern California at this hot springs called Harbin Hot Springs, where it was a community. I wanted to be more in community because that was one of my values. Like, I didn't want to just be living alone. I wanted to test out my values and creating this new earth paradigm that it is in community and is of service. So I started teaching yoga and sound healing and was a chef in the restaurant, vegetarian raw food chef.
Ooh.
And that led to me to meet my husband, Donnie, and he had this place in Maui, and we met through teaching. I'm also teaching nonviolent communication, and now we're here, and he's a music producer, and we came together, and just our art together has flourished, and we offer these. We offer retreats in Maui, and now virtual retreats in Maui. So it's really exciting.
Well, what's interesting about that journey, and thank you so much for sharing it, because like you could, one might look from the outside and say, what do you already had a life of significance, of meaning when you did that, or that. And it sounds like your heart was always yearning for, like, this isn't quite right. I'm closer. And this is bringing me another step closer. I do have to ask, what role did it play when you didn't feel that connection to be on camera, but so many other people did? How do we know, like you in your position there, how would you know that it's just not everybody else, or are they recognizing your light and trying to share with you? Like, we see this in you. You should do this. And you're like, no. How do we know the difference between our own and what other people are?
Well, I mean, you need to know how to tap in to your heart. Is it resonating with you? Are you feeling the yes? If you're not feeling the full yes, I believe in leaning into discomfort. I mean, the whole acting thing was me leaning into discomfort, because I was kind of I have the stage fright. It helped me to work through a lot of things. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to lean into this and see where it takes me. I'm definitely willing to do that, but I was still I wanted it to be more creative for me. I just didn't want to go, the acting world can be really, it's great for some people. For me, it was limiting. I mean, they wanted me to play cops and doctors, and it was just limiting. Cops and prostitutes, and all that. So it was just limiting I didn't feel like a great use of my energy.
Right. Okay. That's a good recognition for us to have, though, because sometimes we can't explain that to others. We can't say, I can't explain my decision, but it's something that's in me. It doesn't, I feel like there's a better use of my energy, and I'm so glad that you listened to it. And you brought up about teaching, and especially if you do your own documentaries, because you want to teach people about something that's going on. And then, could you help us? What is the difference to you? Is there one between teaching and leading? Like, lead, amazing woman, lead, versus like you wanted to teach. Is there a difference? What is it?
Well, you can lead there's different ways of leading, I would say, different avenues of leading. You can lead by example, of course, and you can lead by teaching, of course, and you can lead by some hybrid combination of that, of course, which is what I would say I do. I'm very experiential. Like, I like to create journeys and experiences and inquiries, and I like to empower people with their own ability. Like, some people, I'm very intuitive, and I could do psychic readings and all of that, but I would rather help people figure out how to do that for themselves, how to analyze their own dreams, rather than me tell you how to do it, or me tell you what I think it is by my reading.
Asking the questions. So when people, what would be the number, like, the way we all lead, I believe it's so important to lead ourselves. I love that you said that. You want to empower people to figure it out for themselves first. And is that what right now would you say the world could most benefit from people leading? Where are we lacking in the world that leadership is really being called? Like, the world is just begging, like, come on, somebody, can we have some leaders here?
I do think we do have quite a number of great leaders, you know, I actually do think it's becoming kind of decentralized at that we're getting a lot of little leaders that have their own kind of markets, their own niches, their own people. It's like your people
niche leaders
are waiting for you. Niche leaders.
Yes.
Which I think is probably safer than this one leader on the pyramid, on the top of the pyramid.
Oh, I love that.
Because recognizing that we're all interconnected and that we all have our own experience. And some people, it's easier to hear it from me or easier to hear it from you or easier to have, you know, because we can have more empathy and more understanding and more connections with our life experiences. And there's so much truth now. There's so many wise people really on the planet, and women in particular. I feel like women, you know, it's great for us to come together in small groups, small circles, so that we can really take the time and listen and be present with each other. It doesn't have to be this mass group. I think it's and you know, there's a transmission and a realness, and I do think if as we go to these smaller groups, that it's kind of more tribal.
Yes, I heard that word earlier in my mind. Yes.
Communities.
Yes.
And create our own network.
Tribes are like niches. Like that's the niche. It's like I'm the, you know, instead of niche marketing, it's tribe marketing. I love that.
Right.
The word transmission, that was really neat. I liked that you said that. It jumped out at me. So when you were saying that, like you coming to groups and there's a transmission that happens, what is that? I could feel that. There's energy around that. So can you speak to, how does that show up in your, how does that show up in what you've experienced as that, like when a transmission occurs, what's happening? And
well, I think the transmission can occur by someone modeling something for you. So it's like all of a sudden you come into someone's field and you say, oh, wow, isn't that powerful, interesting? And it lights up the same switches in you. We're mirrors for each other. So it's like you're receiving a transmission and activating a cellular memory of who you really truly are and what your gifts are. And what the possibilities for you are. And then through that, so that to me is what I was talking about through the transmission, just having other examples or models. And transmission, I'm also a Reiki master and I do a lot of energy work. So through the interaction with others, we can receive kind of these energetic upgrades that are helping to dissolve things that are not serving and blockages so we can have more freedom in our expression.
Okay, that was so powerful what you said right now, because especially with what's going on. I understand what's going on, you know, and people are saying to be, you know, separate, but there is so much power in coming together in small groups, you know, because what you just said, when you have something activated in you that lights you up, it dissolves blocks, it dissolves separation, it dissolves. Yes, just it's so powerful. And it's on Maui that you have your retreats?
Yes. Yeah, we live on Maui.
So when people come down and they think, okay, I'm going to go for this retreat, are they strangers at first? Like, do people not know other people? Or is it a personal retreat?
Oh, yeah. When we host up to 6 people at a time, usually more like 2, 3, 4 women from all over the world. And sometimes we get even some mother-daughters or some father-daughters, which is really sweet. Mostly women traveling by themselves are our clients, and they all have some sort of interconnection with each other and us. It's really interesting to see how we are really, there's, you know, threads of commonality moving through everybody. And they can.
I like that as a slogan. I don't know.
What?
Do
What
you
was
use
that?
do you use that as a slogan, like women traveling alone, like women traveling single or alone? Like that's a great, like I totally would, but I'd be like, that's me, okay, or something.
Right.
Okay.
We don't. That maybe we should. That's because that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. They come from all over the world. We have a minimum 5-day retreat. They come 5, 7, 10 days kind of thing, and we take you through a mystical alchemy journey. It's yoga. We teach a therapeutic styles, aerial yoga, plus sound healing. And the aerial yoga is super fun. It's really empowering because people come, they're like, I can't do that. And then they're like flying. They're like, I can do that. Look at me. I'm like, so going beyond myself. It's so exciting to see how empowering and fun it can be.
Yes, fun. Do you believe that there's definitely a place for fun in leadership, in the way that we lead?
Oh yeah. That's why I teach aerial yoga play. It's called aerial yoga play. Because
oh my goodness! I didn't even know that.
To reconnect you with your inner 3-year-old, 5-year-old, your inner child, and to, be like a child. Remember how it was to be like a child. Children fall down, they cry, they get up, they move along, they continue playing, they're really resilient.
Yes, resilient. And it's interesting. She left us with a question about how we could find our purpose. And one of the questions she uses was, what would be something that, I'm going to word it incorrectly now, but basically that what your 8-year-old inner child would stand up and cheer for you and go, yes, you did that. And now you're mentioning about, the play. Do you use that languaging? Like, do you guide people through it with music to, I don't know, talk to the inner child or hear their inner child?
Yeah, I mean, we do it multifaceted. Just getting in the swing connects you with your inner child because you're literally swinging around.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, getting in the swing of
So
things.
to remember how to swing, you're going to have to call in that part of you that remembers how to swing.
Yes. Oh, I like that. Your kid muscles.
Yeah. Okay. Flex those kid muscles. Good way.
Oh, that is fun. So as we're being a part of this book, because you did the Rise, Women Amazing Rise, and now into Lead Amazing Women Lead, do you feel that you've yourself moved from rising and now into leading?
Yeah, I do think that, I've been teaching and sharing and doing ceremonies for many years, for 20 years. So I do feel like I've had a leadership role in the areas, in particular of sound healing, over the last 20 years since it's been developing, because I've been out there kind of as pioneering this new genre that when I started, people are like, well, what is she doing? What is this? So, so I've been rising and leading and to taking risks and figuring things out. What I really appreciated about writing this book is that it helped me develop a new course and some new material for our retreat clients. And we have created an e-retreat and this beautiful a retreat journal, interactive retreat journal that we give to all of our clients, which they love. It's also another tool for accessing that inner child, because it's not only has journal prompts, but it's also a coloring book. It's beautifully illustrated. So it's, exercising our creativity and getting people to write things down, and takes you through what we call the cultivating your powers of the mystic, the powers of the alchemical process.
Wow. Oh, I like these words. These are like magical, like secret world, like fun getting into, and just, being able to really explore. I think that leading does have to come from a place when it feels so like, it's alchemy in the way that we lead. It's all the things that we have that we love come together to allow us to respond to a calling. And as I know, I hate that we have to wrap up, but could you share with everybody where your lovely Black Swan, like where they can find you, where they can learn about it, how they can see?
Sure. So I'd like to invite you to two things. So our website is Black Swan Temple, Black Swan like the bird, temple at .org. And you can find us on Instagram, Black_Swan_Temple. And we've also been activating our Facebook group, which is Mystical Alchemy. So it's, if you look in Facebook groups called Mystical Alchemy, ALCHEMY. And this week, we've been offering, since we're on lockdown until April 30th at least, we're doing a lot of free programming there, yoga, sound healing, meditations, tips, inspiration to keep this energy up and keep us, empowered as we move through these challenging times.
Oh, well, I hope everybody goes and checks it. I've been able to see a few, and I love all the swinging. It's like, woo, we're free and moving. So everybody, please go check out the group, and we can put that link there as well. But thank you so much, Heather. It's Heather Salmon, everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of the book series and the interview series, and just sharing this time with myself and everybody listening.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Okay, yay.
Oh, yay. Well, thank you. That concludes our series for Lead Amazing Women Lead. I can't wait for the next book. Who knows what wonderful action step that's going to be. But we'll see everybody the next week as we begin a new series. But again, thank you, Heather. Thank you, all the co-authors who have joined with us. And it's just been a beautiful time in learning how to lead ourselves and everyone around us.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week. Okay.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Aloha. Come visit us in Maui when this is all over.
Well, we can travel. Okay. Yes. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.